Hey guys, it's the History Nerd, and we're here with the start of a Victoria 2 series. The Crusader Kings 2 series that I started and got 2 whole episodes done in over 2 months is definitely not going to be continuing because I'm not really feeling the whole Crusader Kings 2 thing right now. Let's start the stopwatch, shall we? There we go. And I gotta want to play a game for the channel, because otherwise it's not going to be entertaining. I need to enjoy myself for you guys to enjoy what I'm doing, in theory. Anyway, we're going to be playing as America today. Manifest Destiny, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, this will be slightly different from other Victoria 2 episodes that I've done, because I've done the American Civil War as the Confederacy when the expansion released for Victoria 2, and I've done Spain and Italy as well, which, you know, Italy, it's fun because you gotta like form Italy, but I wouldn't necessarily say that when you're out of it you wind up with the world's strongest nation. And the same can be said for Spain. Spain is in a rough spot. America is different, though. Obviously, you know, it's the 19th century. This is definitely the rise of America as a world power. The start of it, anyway. Sure, they didn't really rise up to total global dominance until after World War II, but obviously the foundation set in the mid to late 19th century into the 20th century set the stage for America to be able to do that. So, what's the dealio with playing the US? Well, the first thing we gotta do, as you can see, there's some white spots on the map that need to be made blue. Now, I don't want to push into Canada, initially anyway. So, you know what, we'll let the British get British Columbia and Alberta and Saskatchewan and all of that. I'm fine with that being the border for now. But let's get our... Oh... Well, we'll have to wait a moment to get Washington State up. Well, let's go ahead and send an expedition to Oregon anyway. And, you know, Colorado and Oklahoma. Why can't I go here? No naval base close enough. That's ridiculous. Alright, well, I would have to imagine that that'll change quickly, because I know Washington State, you know, we need that. But yeah, if Mexico takes these 2 spots, that's fine. We'll be going to war with Mexico relatively quickly, probably to assist Texas. And in fact, I want to double check on how I'm going to do that. So it should be in a decision. Romanticism. Texas exists. So to get Manifest Destiny, obviously we're going to need Romanticism and Texas to exist. So one of the first technologies we should research, one that I almost never do, is Romanticism. So let's get the states researching that. It shouldn't take too long for us to get that. We've got our 2 focuses to do, so we'll slap those guys down in Pennsylvania, the clergymen. For those who might not know what's going on with Victoria 2, and why I'm setting up 2 national focuses to get clergy going. Clergy, at least in the early to mid game, are responsible for educating your citizens, and having an educated citizenry increases your research output. So if we take a look under the technology tab, the average literacy of our population is 42%, and it's increasing by a very, very small number. And that number is influenced by the amount of clergy and the amount of clerks you have in your population. Now, clerks obviously are better than clergy, but initially you don't really have the infrastructure to have a lot of clerks because you don't have a lot of industry. And clerks work in industry. So if we take a look at the factories of America at the moment, we can see we've got some, you know, we're not the world's most industrial power with our, what, 6 factories. We're only 3rd in the world. It's crazy, I know, but you know, we're going to be getting a hell of a lot more factories as time goes by and as America you know, sort of becomes the nation it can be. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of naval work here. Because we've got a whole bunch of little ships. Well, not little ships, but a whole bunch of little fleets. And that's not all that useful. So let's get everybody up here in apparently Concord. No, let's go for, F it, let's go for Long Island and New York. Get everybody together, and then we will split out the transports. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. I don't know where this stupid sneeze came from, but it came from somewhere. Also, I do want to apologize ahead of time in case issues pop up, but I got a tooth extracted. I still have my wisdom teeth, and they're causing me issues, and so I'm slowly getting them pulled out of my skull. How do we want to split this up? You know what? We'll just get everybody over here in Augusta, and we'll reform our military that way. So, yeah, things are still a little sore in there, and talking might sound weird. We shall survive. Already we need to adjust the budget. Typical Victoria 2 fashion, put all your taxes up. We'll drop spending on land units by 50%, and hope to hell things balance. Of course they don't. That's fine. We'll worry about that in a bit. Military access from Texas, absolutely. You can go F yourself, Mexico. Merge this together and let's split out our transports. So we can select this and call this our transport fleet. And first squadron can become the, I don't know, first fleet. Why not? So let's take a look. We've got 11 man-of-wars and 9 frigates. It's not a bad fleet. Considering, I mean, especially considering who we're going to be going up against, with us not picking a fight with Britain at any time in the foreseeable future, you know, hopefully things there go swimmingly. What do we got? Alliance from the USCA, sure, why not? I don't necessarily want to go spending my Diplo influence at the moment. It's probably a waste considering all the loveliness that I have. Can we balance this? So we've got the US Dragoons, which is looking like a full-on good army, and then the second army, which is looking a little under strength. That's fine. So we will call this the first US Corps, because these are corps, not armies, and I'm sure grognards will tell me that if I called these anything but corps. So let's go for second US Corps. There we go. Okay. Splitting all of that out, and if we take a look at this, you know what? Let's send some cotton to Luxembourg. Why not? That'll be a good alliance to foster in the future. So if we take a look at this, we got 1 artillery piece and 5 infantry, which seems a little much for the moment. So what we're going to do, actually close that. What do we got here? We got 4 infantry there, 5 infantry there. What I think I will do is take that, send you there, and then take one of these out and send you up there. Swap that around so the first corps has more artillery. Lovely. No. What? No. Second corps, you go there. I don't know why you went. thrills a minute with army organization, eh? Okay, 2nd U.S. Corps, there we go. 1st U.S. Corps, there we go. With 2 artillery, 2 dragoons, and 4 infantry. It's not a very wide line, but it's quite punchy. And then this, you know, with 1 unit of dragoons and some more infantry can follow up the punching. So let's get these guys over here by Texas, because we are going to want to come to the aid of Texas as soon as we actually absolutely can. Because Manifest Destiny. And, you know, what would a 19th century game about America be without Manifest Destiny? Let's also bring our 1st fleet down here to New Orleans to be able to effectively be used against Mexico. Now, we don't have really a lot of money kicking around, but one thing that I do want to start investing in is naval bases, because naval bases mean fleet strength and colonial power later on. Those are all going to be very important things. So, I could start in the Gulf, but I think what I'm going to do is start in the coasts, just to make sure we've got everything covered. So through Baltimore, Norfolk, we'll probably want to get one in Wilmington. We're going to want to get one in Charleston. We're going to want to get, Tampa's already done. We're going to want to get one in Mobile as well. And that should be good for now. Yeah, do I want to? Well, it's too late. It is going in Charleston. Doesn't really matter all that much. So that'll be fine. Looks like Texas has actually been able to occupy some Mexican territory. I imagine that is not going to last. But with the money we've got kicking around here, what we might want to do is just send them some war subsidies. You know, 4 pence a day, that's not bad. We can afford that, and I'm sure they will appreciate the token assistance. It doesn't look like the Brits are all that interested in taking Canada. I'd have to imagine... Well, no, they can't go for Australia. So I wonder what the Brits are doing with their colonies. Certainly not coming into North America, and I don't understand why. That's fine, though. You know, that's great. We could probably do to take a look at improving... Are we interventionist? We are. Improving our military standing. But, you know, I don't know. Let's pause things and just open up these failed factories. Do a little bit of government subsidy for now. It's not going to hurt us too much, but it's going to keep people employed, which is really what we care about. We'll leave that for now, because we're not actually going to be going to war too quickly against Mexico. Well, we're going to go to war against Mexico as soon as we can, because Texas... But it certainly is going to take a while, so much so that we can kick it up to speed 4 quite safely. Our clergy are coming along nicely. Our transports are, for some reason, losing ships while they're sitting in port. Have to imagine we can't afford the actual clippers for some reason. Some reason that I don't know. We've also got quite a lot of money compared to what our budget says we should have. So I feel like we could safely, you know, kick that up maybe even to 70%. And very safely, we're doing fine. We'll get Idaho sorted there, and we'll get Oregon sorted here as a full proper colony, and we might as well go slap down in Washington State as well. And like I say, that's gonna be it. I've got no interest in pushing up against Britain yet. I've got no interest in forcing, say, liberated Canada, what have you. You know, there's certainly plans for the North American continent, but Britain is down the line. The Copperheads were a group of Democrats in the northern United States who, during the Civil War, opposed the war and favored a peace settlement with the South. The moniker came originally from Unionists, likening them to poisonous snakes, but it soon struck home with the Copperheads themselves. While there is no war yet, there is staunch resistance to abolitionism within some Democratic circles in Scranton. stepping up the local political campaign could probably neutralize them, but only at the cost of offending Southern sentiments. We will debate them at every opportunity. I imagine the Civil War is going to go quick and easy. I have no real intentions of holding on to the institution of slavery. And yeah, we'll be making sure it, well, we can make Wisconsin a state, so let's do that. Another astounding victory for the USA today, as it has now become clear that Wisconsin will, as has been expected for some time, be taken into the American patrimony with full rights of national statehood. One question that still remains to settle is, however, the issue of slavery. We will not be extending slavery to Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't need slaves. Not necessarily that any place needs slaves, but it is kind of necessary for, you know, plantation economies. Hence the states where it is legal. Like I say, I'm not really a fan of people owning people, so we will be working towards getting them free. That's really, that's what Manifest Destiny should be about. Excuse me. Let's just pause things briefly here. We can make a state in Iowa, and it will not be getting slavery. And in fact, I can't really think of any nation that, or any state that I will extend slavery to. Perhaps, possibly Texas, or by association Oklahoma, but certainly none of these northern states. No, you don't get military access from us, Mexico. By the mid-1830s, a new wave of religious zeal was sweeping across the U.S., driven by charismatic preachers who called for the faithful to return to the original teachings of the Bible and lead upstanding moral lives. The movement would spawn several new Protestant sects, leading to debates and schisms within established sects over points of theology and ritual, and reinforcing the power and influence of Christian teachings among the lower and middle classes of the American people at a time when religious fervor in Europe was decreasing. Good old moralism. Talks of secession from the Union can be heard on the streets of St. Augustine. In fact, all over Florida there is talk of secession as fewer and fewer feel that meaningful compromise protecting that peculiar institution of the South can be reached in a climate where Congress moves increasingly towards a position of favoring political reform. In 1837 already we got people in the South thinking it's time to leave the Union. It's ridiculous. We haven't even got Manifest Destiny on the go yet, gentlemen. So we can see, finally, the Brits have decided Alberta's worth taking, but not the interior of British Columbia. As a proud Albertan, take that, hippies from the interior. Just kidding, I love you guys. We can probably take this up to speed 5, because really we need Romanticism research before we can even begin to think about doing anything else. Create a protectorate in Washington and make them a colonial place and leave it at that. I really hope Texas survives. An extensive tract describing the purported unconstitutionality of slavery is being widely disseminated in Joplin. Allowing its continued circulation may upset the lower classes, where it is seen as widest circulation, but attempting to curtail distribution will definitely be regarded as an attack on freedom of speech, which will anger the district's bigwigs. Shall we try to curtail the distribution? Nay. Let those poor people read about how bad slavery is and get them on side with freeing them. Let's pause things. war between Chile and Bolivia. So now, well, I mean, according to this, we've got everything we need for Manifest Destiny. Texas does exist, but because it's at war with Mexico, I guess we're not allowed to go after that. What else do we need for Manifest Destiny? I mean, that's really it, isn't it? Okay, well then, we can take a look at our research and figure out what would be the next best thing to do. As you can see, our research is set as a business, schools, and tycoon something or other, which means commerce, culture, and industry. We've got research bonuses too, but military techs we do not. That's fine. We don't really need to worry too much about getting a good, strong military going, but getting a good, strong industry base going would probably be a good idea. So let's go ahead and try and get medicine as quick as we possibly can. Clad in her white dress, strolling down the streets of Kansas City, her radiance, nobility, and simple beauty turn heads. Speaking, her gentleness, kindness, hospitality, and accent, all draped in the flavors of magnolias, soft cotton, and southern verandas, do the same. Virtue, honor, and dignity in manifest form, such are the women of the South. A toast to Dixie. We can toast the Knights, but I think instead we'll toast Southern labor. The Copperheads were a group of Democrats in the northern United States who, during the Civil War, opposed the war. We will, debate them, because reasons. Romantic music, lovely. Politician and lawyer Horace Mann began his reforms of the educational system of Massachusetts. System of schools became a model for the entire United States, which means we get research points and all sorts of lovely things, which is nice. We'll get medicine much, much quicker. Established in 1816 as by African-American members of the Methodist community of Philadelphia in the 1830s and 40s, the AME Church would rapidly expand its membership among both free and slave populations in the United States during the era of religious revival, providing a spiritual outlet for the African-American community completely under their own control and direction, and a new platform for challenging the continued practice of slavery in the Union. God our Father, Christ our Redeemer, man our brother. Lovely. We got some consciousness rising up in the African-American population, which is good. Talk of secession from the Union down in Vicksburg, so already people are not liking the stances we've taken. The rise of numerous sects within Protestant Christianity in the USA in the early 19th century would create an environment for further theological speculation. One of the most influential movements to arise from this would be the American Unitarianism, emphasizing the role of reason in understanding theology, and thus rejecting the concept of the Trinity and the inherent goodness of humanity and its capability for improvement because of reason. Unitarianism would become very influential among middle and upper class populations in the northeastern USA and encourage several movements of social improvement, from public education to abolitionism. Whew, that's wordy. I very much like for Texas to survive here. Can I do anything about that? Like, can I join your war? In any way? No. What about you, Mexico? I can justify a war against you. But we got no reason to liberate. I've got no, like, way to just be like, hey, stop beating up on Texas. Maybe I should have been throwing points at them earlier. I don't know. But if Texas doesn't exist, and I don't have Manifest Destiny, I'll have to liberate Texas to fire the event, I think. Okay, more rebel scum. That's fine. More rebel scum. Might be a big CSA. That's totally, absolutely fine. Let's get Michigan going slave free. More rebel scum. More rebel scum. More rebel scum. Okay, we get it. There's quite a few people here who are not pleased. Thankfully, it looks like everybody's needs are still coming along relatively nicely. And Mexico is winning the war against Texas, which sucks. I don't play the US enough to know how to really push things with Texas. Because, like, I mean, now that they're, you know, in my freaking sphere, I should just be able to join the war with them. The one issue that the founding fathers of our great nation were never able to answer conclusively was the question concerning the status of slavery within the Union. This inflamed debate has only gained traction in the years since the Revolution, and it is presently the singular most important issue in our country's political agenda. Some radical Southerners feel that there is no possible compromise to be found on the issue, and that secession is the only alternative to being dominated into emancipation by the central power in Washington. Should our Senate ever be in a position to force political reforms on the South, a 40% liberal upper house, we can be certain that it will not happen without opposition. So that's interesting. And we got some news. We got an invention, price rising, Papal State complete, or Papal State research complete into market structure. The Russian Empire is expanding the Sabinada, I think. I don't know. Something about Brazil. New patent. The fears of Brahmin, and of course, war between Afghanistan and Bukhara. Oh, we will help feed the local poor. Let's keep people slightly happy. I would love to do something about this whole situation in Texas, but I cannot. We will just have to let them take Texas, and we will then liberate it from them. We should have the military force to do so, I'm hoping, although it certainly does look like they've got a relatively large army there. The First Corps should be pretty darn good in taking care of all the issues we have, but I don't think we can raise any more troops, can we? Perhaps a boost to military spending might be in order. Okay, Burma has demanded concessions. Or not Burma, the freaking British Empire's demanded concessions. One direct impact of the religious revival in the USA in the early 19th century would be the explosion in the number of voluntary organizations organized to help improve society by tackling perceived social and moral problems in society, providing comfort to the less fortunate, or promoting self-help via education. Dubbed the Benevolent Empire by historians, these organizations help provide a community of infrastructure for a society rapidly expanding in numbers and being transformed by new economic forces for the betterment of society. Now, speaking of the betterment of society, because Texas no longer exists, you know, we have to go liberate it from Mexico to get Manifest Destiny on the go. Not a problem. Justify war. Liberate country. Proceed. At this stage, we might as well get our military spending all the way up tip-top as high as it can go. And not military spending, obviously, but the military national stockpile. So we'll just let this war justification tick away. Slowly but surely, you can see there's the UK demanding a concession from Burma. Here we are liberating a country from Mexico, recently conquered. And the existence of this separate nation, you know, has its own rootings in certain geopolitical situations in the area. Regardless, as America, it feels right to invade a country, to, free a section of the country. It's just, we're bringing freedom to everybody. And I think that's something everybody can get behind. Looks like we're coming up close to having enough clergy in Pennsylvania, so we'll be able to move those guys on to another state to do some more teaching. Again, clergymen provide research points, and of course, educate your citizenry so they can learn to do things. They can learn to read and write. And then liberate Texas. There we go. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's call in Liberia and the USCA. And let's go liberate Texas, guys. We'll send you there and you there. Probably bring this down to speed 3 so I can handle the situation in the war. Obviously, the USCA has joined in. Lovely. War between the US and Mexico. Good. We're gonna go liberate Texas, so we can come up with an idea of manifest destiny. I'm not gonna bother. Oh, we can pause that. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know where that thought was going, but it's gone now. Perhaps ideological thought? I don't know. This close. It might be best to just sit on the research points and then dump it all into idealism in 1840. So I think that's what we're going to do. It's definitely, early in the year to not be researching anything. But as we build up those research points, we'll be able to get idealism researched kind of much quicker than one would imagine. So let's go Ohio and Georgia. A young boy arose from the inside of a chimney and gently sat down on the roof. His face and clothes were blackened by the soot from the chimney and showed that this was not the first chimney he had swept this day. Tired, he climbed down the roof and trotted off after receiving a penny from the house matron. The hard work that the city's young chimney sweeps perform has outraged many, and a committee has been formed to tackle the rough working conditions. We could legislate against it. That doesn't sound very American, but we could. Okay, so I guess we could kick this up to speed 4 until we see, actual units we need to worry about fighting. I.e. that little army there in Austin. Help feed the local poor. We should catch some of those units. Excellent. It looks like the Mexican army is set to march all the way up into American territory, not caring that, half of Texas is already occupied. We got 2 things we can go for: the House Gag Rule and the Kansas-Nebraska Act. By enacting the Kansas-Nebraska Act, we will effectively repeal the Missouri Compromise of 1820 and allow popular sovereignty to determine whether slavery should or should not be allowed in the former colony of Louisiana and the territories presently created out of it. Abolitionists will resent us for it, but it might be necessary to prevent the sundering of our Union, or the seemingly irresolvable debate over slavery threatens to tear our country apart. If we were to introduce a gag rule in the House of Representatives, barring bills on the slavery issue from being presented to the House, we could hope to at least alleviate some of the worsening tensions. Let's go with the gag rule. That sounds good. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned gag rule, right? Vaccinations, a very important medical discovery there. Let's go ahead and move into San Antonio. And we might as well move up to Oklahoma City here, since it looks like the Mexicans are going out of their way to loop around into Wichita. Don't know why. I've never been to Wichita, but I can't imagine it is a stunning place. If you can prove me wrong, please. Go right ahead. Oh no, Admiral Hull is dead. I guess that is one thing we could absolutely do. What am I doing? Excuse me. Go freaking blockade some Mexican ports, United States fleet. Yeah, we can take those guys quite easily. Get out of Wichita! Oh, you bastards. You bastards just took it in time, didn't you? As you can see, when you've got an army that has artillery and horses, man, things are going well. In the news! The UK is going to war against Burma. Queen Victoria has been coronated. Afghanistan expands. Breakthrough in Switzerland. Prices on steamer convoys rising. We've got inventions in the Ionian Islands. An article on Hesse-Bavarian relations and war between Spain and Algeria. Interesting, because usually that would be France and Algeria. So the fact that Spain's going for Algeria could put a slight damper on French activity in the region. We shall see. A secret society dedicated to promoting perceived Southern interests in the United States by the expansion of slavery, the Knights of the Golden Circle have established a chapter in Lexington. We will suppress that damn society. Alright, and the start of a new year, we've got some new tech. Idealism, let's get those research points rolling as quick as we possibly can. And as you can see, it's going to happen quite quickly because of all of the points we're throwing into it. Which is good. That's what we want. No, you do not live there. You do not operate there, Mexican army. Get out. Everything's going in the south anyway. Because I would imagine my southern allies here, while also dealing with Battle of Oklahoma City, of course, is victory. We're also dealing with some rebel issues that are likely going to tear the USCA apart, especially since they're involved in a war now. Not that the war is going to do much damage, but, you know, they're involved. The flames lick the log cabins and wooden houses, throwing a queer orange glow up at a starry night sky, and only slightly obscured by the plumes of smoke billowing up from the town. He rides down Main Street with strange shadows dancing about him as he goes, come out, wherever you are!" He screams! Far away in the city, gunshots echo against the screams of dying men. Border ruffians, intent on making Washington a slave state, have crossed into Seattle and raided a small, outlying settlement in the territory. Stop those bastards. What are they doing in Washington state trying to make this a slave state? It's so far away. It's not possible. Let's take a look at how the whole war situation is going. We will give them full citizenship. We are a land of immigrants, after all. Clinical thermometers and binaural stethoscopes. I imagine that's a stethoscope with the two arms into the ear. I don't really know. Making things up as I go. Debate those copperheads at every opportunity, please. Attrition in army health coming along. It's very nice. We've almost got all of Texas occupied. But of course, thankfully they haven't made any gains in the far west. If we take a look at the war, we are nowhere near getting to where we need to be to convince the Mexicans that Texas should be liberated. The country that they just conquered mere months ago. So we shall continue to push. Have full citizenship. Inventions. Price rise. Oldenburgian research completed. Breakthrough in Holstein Frederick Wilhelm IV. Inventions. Lucas relations. The Dutch fear. Fairly certain the Americans don't have the Dutch fear. Unless, you know, you're talking about paranoia from smoking far too much cannabis. Founded in 1833, the American Anti-Slavery Society was an organization on the forefront of the American abolitionist movement. Notable members such as Frederick Douglass and Abby Kelly Foster, the society organized meetings, speakings, and even published a weekly newspaper between 1840 and 1870, all with the aim of abolishing, there we go, slavery in the United States. The society has now opened a charter in Atlantic City. Leave them be. Things have gone from bad to worse in Goodland. Great name for a place where things are going bad to worse. Where the colonial police, while in pursuit of two locals suspected of murdering a colonial official, happened to disturb a shrine of some importance to the local religion. We have to respect their beliefs, even though they are colonial savages. If we don't respect them, how can we expect them to respect us? Regardless, we'll just keep marching down the coast here until we get to Mexico City, and you know, we'll use the second corps up here to just secure all the other future United States, you know, all the future territories we're going to need to conquer for ourselves. So we'll go take Tampico, and then we might as well go into Veracruz and force, you know, their one ship to come fight the U.S. Navy. More medical advancements, which is great stuff. Almost there. Go to Veracruz. And, oh, look at that. The USCA actually has a decent-sized army. I am impressed. It should be able to at least defend itself against the Mexicans, so that is good. Still nowhere near getting close enough to where we need to be to liberate Texas. That's fine. We shall, you know, get there eventually. Battle of the Yucatan Sea is obviously a clear victory, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. More Copperheads we're going to debate at every opportunity we can. Upper House getting rearranged. And now we should be able to go park ourselves on the Capitol and help our war score out that way. We got another paper. Feel free to read what you wish. And the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Sure, we'll pass that. There we go. Actually, let's go that way. Good. We've got that taken care of. We might want to start looking at getting out some more of our industry. Industry should never really be that big of a problem for the U.S. Things should just happen naturally with them. Well, because of the nature of, you know, historical developments and all of those other nice things. So Mexico City, nicely captured. We can now go after where else they're raising troops. And you can come up here, but we should be getting fairly close. I don't know if they will accept peace. Not quite. Oh, they would accept this offer. Lovely. So thank you. Texas applies for statehood. But I don't want... I want Manifest Destiny. We will extend slavery to Texas because it's probably how we're pulling it in. And we will extend slavery to Florida as well. And now we can get Manifest Destiny, which is key. So the Mexicans are going to hate us with this, and that's fine. But we're going to get cores on Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Colorado, Oregon, Nevada, Utah, California, and Arizona. Lovely. So now we can just, you know, pick on Mexico whenever we want, which is good. We will send the second corps over here to San Antonio, where there's a fort, and we'll pull the first corps back probably to I mean, I'm pull them back to Augusta. F it, pull them back to New Orleans. And, you know, just keep them close. We're not going to worry about Venezuela yet. Ralph Waldo Emerson's first collection of essays was published in 1841 and introduced the world to a new, rather mystical philosophy indigenous to the New World. Although many Europeans didn't consider him much of a philosopher per se, his influence on continental thinking was unmistakable, most significantly on Nietzsche. So speech is a kind of act. Interesting. And now we got some things to take a look at. So we've got Clay and Douglas draft. Senators Henry Clay and Stephen A. Douglas have presented a draft proposal for a compromise on the slavery issue centered around the premise of popular sovereignty as the determinant for slavery or abolitionism in the territories. By supporting the draft proposal, we could calm tensions over the slavery issue at least for a time. By introducing a federal Fugitive Slave Act, we can enforce the return of escaped slaves to their owners in the slave states. Doing so will, at least for some time, calm Southern fears of abolitionism. And the Ostend Manifesto proposes that the islands of Cuba should be annexed to the United States as a slave state to balance the expected influx of new free states in the West. By supporting this manifesto, we can calm tensions over the slavery issue domestically, but it might reduce our standing with the European great powers. So that will cause a lot of Europeans to be like, I don't know about that. It will give us a core on all of Cuba, which is nice, and the boost to infamy is not so nice. So I think we'll leave that for now. But I think the Clay and Douglas draft sounds like a very good idea, and now we can't go for Cuba, which is fine. It might come back, it might not. I'm feeling like we took the right approach, though. I don't necessarily want to pick a fight with any European powers yet. It's going to be a while before we're in a position to be able to do that. But, you know, it's definitely going to be a thing to do. No doubt people are scared of the U.S. Such is life. We can pull you into New Orleans as well, because I have a feeling most of our conflict is going to be against Mexico for the foreseeable future. But I think with that, that's going to be a good place to leave the video for today. So, thumbs up if you have enjoyed today's video. Leave your comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, jokes, musings, what have you below. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.